Okay.
important,
Okay.
then when it come back to bite you in the posterior, you have done your due diligence, but you have
Okay.
not done your due diligence. You legislate through, you do the legislation. They are to carry it out. They make the recommendations to you, and you then critique it or what have you, and then you put it into law, and that's how it works.
Thank you.
So,
Continue.
my next question, in reference to the basin, and this goes to
Jeff or Joe? Both
so
of
either
you.
one of us can answer. I know it's supposition that you indicated in reference to the basin and how long water will remain. Now, I guess the basins that you alluded to, it does not have a bottom. Is that correct? It just loose, just the earth. Is that correct? Or is this basin is concerned that you alluded to?
It has amended soils and plants at the bottom.
My question, sir, does it have anything in the bottom besides the earth?
An underdrain? It has an
in this
underdrain.
basin.
Yes, these basins all have underdrains. So it allows that water to percolate through the soil, and then it goes into that underdrain and it gets released into the system.
Now, you alluded to Superior, and I guess Lakeview, that's where you're speaking of, as far as the basin is concerned. Is that right?
No, I was referring to one of our deep tunnel projects on Superior Avenue in Cleveland. If you drive down
That is
Superior.
Cleveland. I'm speaking of Lakeview and Cleveland.
Oh,
Superior.
okay.
That is Cleveland,
All right,
very
all
much
right.
Cleveland.
Okay,
Now, is that the basin?
that's not a basin.
That's our grade infrastructure.
That is a shaft site to go way, way deep,
Yes.
hundreds of feet underground to build a tunnel. That is a complete 180-degree difference between what we're talking about.
Yeah, but no, you alluded to it, and that's why I was trying to get some
Because it's
clarification.
yes, it's part of Project Clean Lake. Project Clean Lake has two components: gray infrastructure, which are the tunnels, and that shaft site on Superior and Lakeview.
And
The
green.
green infrastructure, which we're talking about here.
Okay, well, I'm just following up with what you
Sure.
said, so I listened very attentively. Now, you said in reference to the water remaining being more a foot in some of the instances, and so your basin would be probably 2 feet. And what is that predicated on?
That is based upon years of rainfall data that we put into a very advanced computer model. And we also base that upon the sewer pipe sizes and the rainfall data to understand the flows that will be coming into that basin. And then those outlet and inlet structures are sized. And we adjust those within the model to see what happens if we get this amount of rain and we have this inlet structure, what's the ponding depth going to be. So we have sized not only the pipes, but the inlet and outlet structures to allow for that amount of ponding depth. And then we also have an overflow outlet, so if it gets above a certain level, it will just overflow and go right into the sewer system, so that it doesn't create a problem.
Okay, let me see back. This basin, is it a kind of a round situation? How deep is it?
As far as
I mean, it's open, it's not capped. It's not capped.
no.
There's no like roof over it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be about like 6 to 8 feet deep. You got to understand it's a 3-to-1 slope, so it's a gradual decline. And then at the bottom of that slope, you'll have that 1 foot of ponding depth of water.
Can you, let it continue, can you get us a picture? I know the guy talked about, can you get us a picture of the basin that we can show the public?
Yes, but also on this this document that I handed out, this is actually to scale.
Right.
So if you notice, there are people on this drawing that show that shows how deep. They're going to be pretty deep, but it's going to be a deep, a gradual slope there.
And another good place to look is the EPA website. If you go to their website, they have certain like illustrations and stuff that you can really see it better.
My
Go ahead,
concern-
Mr.
my
Continue.
concern is in reference
How
to
could
the
it be
one
on that
that's
site what's
close
ever been done?
to the school.
It has been done.
No, it hasn't.
And-
It's a prototype.
And
You get your chance, Mr.
And
Jones.
with that one being, as you said, about 6 deep or whatever, that's troubling. And I feel that, excuse me, I'm listening.
Go ahead.
I was there, Lieutenant, I want you to hear me. I'm very troubled. It's troubling to me. You just indicated the fee. And you cannot authenticate, nor can I, as to what the good master is going to do and how much rain we're going to have. And that thing is 5 to 6 feet deep. And the kids are very curious. And they can get in there and drown. And that's troubling to me. And then if this council sit here and pass something.
Well, let him respond. I hear what you're saying, but let him respond to the safety factor. Joe or Jeff, respond to this.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
and the safety concerns about the school are well-founded. I completely understand that. The one thing that I can say, and this kind of to reiterate what Jeff is saying, when we talk about, the fact that we've taken a lot of these models and data over a lot of years into account, that's not something that you really want to gloss over, okay? So what this information is over all these years is it is a accurate projection of how much that it rains within this area, and that informs us to how much water will be in these basins, okay? So if you can just bear with me for a second, that's like, if you have rainwater projections in a desert and you see over tons and tons of years that it never rains, if you're building some kind of a basin or anything that impacts that, you're going to have an idea of how much that it rains there, okay? So if you take that for East Cleveland, it's the same type of thing. We have our engineers, our consultants who've worked on this project for months and years now. They have an idea of how much that it's going to rain in these basins. So but real quick, I'm going to address what you're talking about with the kids, because that's a very good point. The one thing, and I think I said this at a past meeting, that you have to try and understand is that when, as Jeff said, over 200 days, 2/3 of the year, the basins will be completely dry, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is understand, at the time, the second thing actually is that there's going to be a fence there, and it'll be marked that it's not a pool, it's not something people are supposed to be in. Clearly marked. That's all taking into kids' safety. That's why we're doing that. Again, it's kind of unique for us to even have that on one of these basins, because we're doing that in response to the city's concerns. But again, this is the most important thing, at the times that there will be a meaningful depth of water in these basins, try to understand it's going to be in the middle of a torrential downpour, okay? So it's not going to be something where it's a day like this, the kids are out playing after school, and there's this water in this basin, oh, let's go. No, it's not going to be like that. When the water is at any kind of depth where, and I hate to even say drowning, but where that would even be on the table, it's going to be cats and dogs down outside. No one's going to be outside, let alone trying to get into the basin. So if you just take into account the projections of how much rainwater will be there, the fencing, and just realistically the fact that people won't be outside when there's water in there, the risk of drowning for young people is extremely insignificant. And that's with all respect to the question, really.
And I thank you for your answer, but it still doesn't totally answer my question. I want you to be cognizant in the city of East Cleveland.